What's up, Falcon family? Dirty Bird Nation, welcome back to another episode of Atlanta Falcons Pandemic, a show built for the fans, by the fans. The heartbeat of the Dirty Bird faithful, where my fellow pandemics never waver and that passion never dies. I am your host, Manuel McFarland, the certified Falconologist, your true trusted voice for diehard Falcon fans who live and breathe this team. As you can see from my intro, guys, this video started out being about the injury reserve list and players that we thought we would see in the preseason, and we wondered where they were. A few of those guys ended up on injury reserves, players that I didn't even know about. And I was going to cover that in this video, but as I was sitting here working on my content, I noticed that the Falcons have dropped their list of the first round cuts. So we're going to drop the injury. We're going to drop the injury content and jump right into this first round of cuts. We got a few surprises in here, not so surprise moves that were made, but the Atlanta Falcons wasted no time kicking off the difficult process of roster cut downs, making their first wave of release ahead of the Tuesday 53-man deadline. While many of the names weren't surprising, a few of the moves raised eyebrows and have the fan base asking big questions. So today we're going to break down the players who were released, what each cut means for the team's immediate roster, the roster construction, and what it signals for the future of Falcons football. From the surprise relief of veteran defensive lineman Morgan Fox to the young players who didn't quite make the cut, we'll analyze how these decisions shape the Falcons' path forward and who's poised to take their place. The Falcons' recent cuts go deeper than just the roster. Guys, it reveals a calculated plan to reshape the team's entire future. Now, if they didn't make the cut, guys, let's be honest here. Everybody can't make the team, right? That's why it's called a 53-man roster. You got to get the team down to 53 players. Now, if we were able to keep 60 players, it will be so much easier. You know, a lot of these guys that got cut will still have an opportunity to stay on the team if it were a 60-man roster. But it's 53-man. The Falcons have made their decision. Coach Raheem Morris and the other coaches have got their heads together. And there are implications as to why certain people got cut. So we're going to go into that. But just after signing a new contract, key players were unexpectedly released in a massive roster overhaul. This move signifies a dramatic seismic shift in team strategy, prioritizing youth over proven talent for their 2025 season. So others may seem certain about why these moves were made. There are some people, fans that are uncertain as to why some players were cut. So we're going to jump right into it. The Atlanta Falcons just made a move that has the whole fan base talking. It's a decision that seemed to come out of left field. The team kicked off its final 2025 roster cuts by releasing veteran defensive lineman Morgan Fox. This is a guy that he just signed back in March, a respected 8-year veteran with 120 games under his belt, and suddenly he was shown the door. On the surface, it makes zero sense. For a lot of fans, it's a total head scratcher. Why cut a productive, reliable player you just committed to? Before I get into the gist of it, like I said, Atlanta, Terry, and the Falcons are prioritizing youth. But one of the things I think they're getting away from, the Falcons are getting away from, are moves like they made with Matthew Judon. And I hate to keep using him, but he's just the perfect example. Getting away from these guys that we're signing free agency who are or had a nice season prior to the Falcons' decision to consider them, right? Thinking that they would come in and add to what we already have, only to make the decision of a regret. But I'm gonna get into that later. But let's get on with this. What if this wasn't just about one player, Morgan Fox? What if this was a signal, a sign of a master plan of where this franchise is headed? This move, along with the others, points to a huge shift in how the Falcons are building this team. And today we're going to break it down. We'll get into the big three reasons behind this roster shakeup and what it really means for the 2025 season and beyond, and why it matters. Guys, let's be real. The frustration from the fans is completely justified. Morgan Fox wasn't just some camp body. After Grady Jarrett's departure, he was brought in to be a key part of the defensive line rotation. He's a guy who has been consistently getting to the quarterback, racking up 15.5 sacks over the last 3 seasons with the Chargers. He was supposed to bring steady, professional presence to a defensive front that desperately needs it. When the Falcons signed him, it looked like a smart, solid move to beef up the trenches. And truth be told, guys, we needed the help. I mean, the middle, and Morgan Fox is that middle guy. Only thing, I think Morgan, he could still fill the gap. He just wasn't fast enough. He didn't fight off the blocks fast enough, especially for the competition that he was facing. But he didn't fight off the blocks fast enough to get to the quarterback and or add pressure to the quarterback or getting to the running back. He didn't quite get the pressure. He did fill the gap, but it's more to it than just filling the gap, right? And that's what we're looking for. Now, he didn't really have that viciousness that Jeff Albrecht is looking for. He was like the nice guy. You know what I mean? So when you play in that middle, you have to bring a sense of viciousness to the middle. Warren Sapp was the epitome of viciousness in the middle. Grady Jarrett had a little bit of it, but he was double teamed so much it wore him out. So that's what they was looking for in Morgan Fox. So to release, but there's more to it than that. There's more to it than that, I guarantee you. I'm about to share it with you. So to release him now, after he played in all 3 preseason games, just feels like bizarre and abrupt. And he wasn't the only one. The team also said goodbye to former 3rd-round pick Ronnie Perkins, cornerback Lamar Jackson, and linebacker Caleb Johnson, making it clear this was a broad and decisive roster overhaul. These moves have left a lot of people wondering what the plan is. And if you have not been following Falcon during the preseason and minicamp and just now tuning in to what's going on, you're one of these people that are asking the questions. But people who have been following it understands the move and what the game plan is. We knew what the game plan was when they hired Jeff Albrecht to be the defensive coordinator. So, but these moves, like I said, have a lot of people wondering what the plan is. Are we giving up on this season for some uncertain future? Absolutely not. But it creates a void in experience and a massive question mark on the depth chart. This isn't just about one guy. It's about the feeling that the team's immediate future has suddenly become cloudy. To some, it may have become cloudy, but like I shared today in the chat, we still don't have that veteran, boisterous leadership. Yes, we have Jesse Bates, but I said boisterous. Remember Calais Campbell? He held players accountable. He was boisterous. Players listened. Players produced playing with Calais Campbell, and it showed. But there's a strategy here. Even if it's a tough pill to swallow, we've boiled it down to 3 key reasons the Falcons made these cuts and what it says about the long-term vision. You have to consider the financial reality and the long-term flexibility of it. The first and maybe the most cold-blooded reason is you have to consider the money. Follow the cash, and the logic starts to appear. It starts to make sense. While cutting a player you just signed seems like a terrible financial decision, it's likely a calculated play for future flexibility. Morgan Fox's 2-year contract was reported to be worth around $5.5 million, with $3 million guaranteed. Releasing him now comes with a dead cap hit of $3 million. Now, at first glance, this looks bad. It looks awful. The team paying a player millions to not play for them. Even worse, that dead cap hit is actually more than the 2.5 million cap hit he was scheduled to have this season, meaning the team technically cost them not only money but cap space in 2025. So why in the world would they do it? The answer is all about 2026. By eating the cost now, the Falcons free up 2.5 million in salary cap space for the next year. It isn't about saving a buck today. It's about giving themselves options for tomorrow. This front office, it seems like they're playing chess, not checkers. That extra 2.5 million might not sound like a fortune, but in the salary cap world, every bit of flexibility is golden. That space could be the difference in extending a young star, grabbing a free agent, or having the room to make a trade mid-season. Just think about it. We got young cornerstones on this team. Star wideout Drake London already in his fifth year, on his fifth year option. Guys like him and Bijan Robinson are going to need new, expensive contracts sooner rather than later. And if they keep producing guys, we're going to have to pay to keep them. This front office knows those bills are coming soon. Moves like this are painful as they are. Right now are all about making sure they have the financial health to build around the young offensive core while continuing to rebuild the defense. It's a classic sense of sacrificing a piece of now for a prize later, right? So when you think about the players that are on this list, and I'm going to bring this list up right now. I thought I had it up already, but let's see here. I thought I had it already, but this is easy to get to. And I know it says on Sunday, guys. I blundered that, but it's this Saturday. This list came in today, and these are the 12 guys that have been released. The only surprise, really surprised, guys, is the one Morgan Fox. Everybody else is kind of on the bubble, right? Whether they produce during this preseason, produce during these team meetings, none of these are surprise as much as Morgan Fox. Matthew Cindric, offensive lineman. I'm presuming he's a guard. I don't see the Falcons letting go any tackles right now, especially with this first round cut. When you look at what we're missing on that right side with Caleb McGarry out, Storm Norton, and now Tyrone Wheatley is on IR or the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list. And then you have Ben DiNucci, the quarterback. I think he was just a body to have just in case Easton Stick wasn't able to go. We had to have another backup quarterback. Emory Jones is out on injury. He's one of the guys that's on this list that, some of us was wondering where he was. But anyway, I would like to have seen Ben DiNucci play more yesterday against Dallas. Ben DiNucci is a former quarterback that was from Dallas, played for Dallas, actually started some games for Dallas. And he actually was a good quarterback. But I would like to have seen him play more, if for no other reason, but to get some get back at Dallas, especially if he was able to come in and score a couple of touchdowns, right? That would have made my day. And it's no news to everybody that the only team that I hate worse than the Saints are the Dallas Cowboys. And anything that uproots the Dallas Cowboys program, I'm all for it, right? So anything that can be a negative to the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, it gets a thumbs up for me. And to have Ben DiNucci come in and just route the Cowboys, it would have been nice. Elijah Dotson, running back, he's been here for a couple of years, and although he had a solid preseason minicamp, it wasn't the best, right? There were plays when he was running, he allowed smaller players to get a hand on him and get him to the ground. And he didn't make a whole lot of plays, but and it's really not that too. But the play of Nathan Carter, I think, is what sidelined Elijah Dotson. Right? Nathan Carter can't is win out of nowhere. Everybody knows Nathan Carter is a big, bruising running back, and to have him look the way he looked this preseason, just elusive as Bijan and as you talking about a bigger player, Nathan Carter, he came in, he understood the assignment. He came in, did what he's supposed to do, make the best of his time, and presumably he's going to earn a spot. Coach Morris really couldn't shut up about him, but that I think that was the end to Elijah Dotson. Like I said before, Morgan Fox, defensive lineman, who had a solid mini camp. It just was not fast enough. It was not as dynamic enough, you know. And I don't think, and seriously, in my opinion, I think they just didn't want to uh, face another situation like a Matthew Judon. He had a solid 2024, but coming in, he just wasn't dynamic enough, especially against the competition that he faced. He played all 3 preseason games. He against the Cowboys, he played all 4 quarters, and he was kind of just there. He didn't turn no heads. He didn't make no significant plays. He was just there, right? So I think that made the decision to move on from Morgan Fox. Lamar Jackson, the cornerback, it's stiff competition over there for Lamar. He really had to make moves and stand out to even be considered for that spot. That CB2 spot is going to be scrutinized very heavily opposite AJ Terrell. We really need somebody over there that can complement AJ Terrell on that side. But Lamar Jackson, there were a few plays actually, where tackling was an issue, right? When it came time for him to make a one-on-one tackle or a tackle in the open field, he was kind of like just sticking his arms out there. He wasn't making the tackle, right? So, and it was one play where he almost got carried for like 5 yards or something like that, trying to make a tackle. So he really didn't look good for Lamar. And I think I'm not even sure he will make practice squad. I don't think he'll make practice squad. So he wasn't dynamic enough to continue to compete for that CB2 spot. Caleb Johnson, I didn't see a lot of him to form an opinion, and I do apologize for that. But I didn't see a lot of him. Even if he was on the field, I didn't pay attention to him. But he's an inside linebacker. Same thing with Nicola I can't pronounce his name. You guys see it. The tight end. Of course, that's another tight group, guys. That plenty of competition there. From Kyle Pitts to Charlie Warner. T. I mean, this is competition over there. Joshua Simon is over there, so he has competition over there, and I don't think he would have been as dynamic trying to compete against those guys. Nick Kubitz, the inside linebacker. He's another one I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to if he was on the field. I was just too much trying to pay attention to Josh Woods, but like I said, I didn't see him play a whole lot on the field. Jesse Matthews, wide receiver, he actually turned a couple of heads. He made a few plays, but he's amongst competition, just like Quincy Skinner. Both of these guys were faced against competition in that wide receiver core. That every one of these receivers could very well have made this team, right? And I know it was tough. Even to put anybody on practice squad, it's going to be tough for Raheem Morris to break down that receiver room and decide who stays and who goes, right? Ronnie Perkins, the edge rusher, he just didn't make enough plays, guys. And that's one of the things, especially at the edge rusher position where the spotlight is, you're going to have to make some moves, right, to be considered. And Ronnie Perkins just didn't do it. I'm not going to say he didn't make plays, but it just was not dynamic enough. We already talked about Quincy Skinner. Josh Thompson, same thing. He's up against a very competitive safety room. Safety room. And when you got guys like Xavier Washington, Billy Bowman Jr., and then on top of that, DeMarco Hellams, who proved that he didn't lose a step, from his injury. So he was against tough competition, and that's no knock from what Josh Thompson was able to do out there. He just up against too much, it was, and like I said, all the safety that we got probably will make this team. So Josh Thomas was the odd man out. But anyway, thus the 12 first round 12 players that we let go, guys. No surprise here, like I said, outside of Morgan Fox. I thought that we needed that help in the middle, and obviously uh, Raheem Morris and defensive coordinator Jeff Albrecht did not see it that way. I don't know what else they saw that drew them to this conclusion. But obviously, it did not work out for Morgan Fox. We wish him the best on the next team that he finds. Hopefully, he found his way back. I don't. The game in the game yesterday against Dallas, the intensity just was not there for him. So, but wish him the best going. As for all these players, wish him the best going forward. I mean, I don't think them being released from this team is any knock on their talent. It just this team is deep, guys. It's deep. But there you have it, guys. 12 players, first round of cuts. Guess we move on to the next one, right? It's all a part of the football game. So a lot of them probably didn't have it. Well, no, none of them outside of Morgan Fox. Let's see. Danucci went through this before. Quincy Skinner has been here before. So, yeah. So, yeah, there you have it. Yeah. But the second reason for this, guys, that I saw that I could think of is about the spreadsheet and more. It's less about the spreadsheet and more about the playbook, right? The 2025 Atlanta Falcons defense isn't the same one we've seen in the past years. I am overly optimistic about this defense, as I'm sure a lot of us are. But the hiring of new defensive coordinator Jeff Albrecht signals a massive shift in how they want to play. Albrecht, who comes from the New York Jets, brings a completely different mindset to Atlanta. For years, the Falcons' defense identity has been a bit soft, leaning heavily on bend but don't break zone schemes. And Albrecht comes from a school of built on aggression, versatility, creating chaos. He's been clear that the old labels of 3-4 defense, 4-3 defense are outdated. His system that he's bringing in is about having multiple looks, disguising what you're doing, and most importantly, attacking the offense. This new approach demands a different type of athlete. It's not enough to be a solid, reliable player. You have to be a versatile and explosive weapon that fits a very specific mold. And it's no news to everybody. I am an old school guy, right? So, and what he's looking for are guys that bring that viciousness in their tackles, viciousness in their blocks, viciousness in sending messages. Hey, don't bring that mess up through here. We are the Falcons. We are back. The gridiron. I'm calling the gridiron. I forgot the name that I gave them. But anyway, the Grits Blitz 2.0 is back. So, and DeMarco Hellams exhumes that. Natron Brooks exhumes that. Now all we need to do is get everybody doing the same thing with the same mentality, sending the message. The Atlanta Falcons are here. We want opposing teams, when they see that bus pull up, they say, oh, here come those Falcons. That's exactly what we want them thinking. Jeff Albrecht, he's the man to get them there. You take a look at what he did with the New York Jets, right? When he took over that defense, he didn't have any Pro Bowl players. When he got done with that defense, he had 3. Now, Sauce Gardner, very talented athlete. He would probably make it either way. But either way it go, it wasn't the fact that he ended up with 3 Bowl players, but it was how they started playing. And their defense was no knock on what the result of the season was. The defense played phenomenal. So, and that was all by the hands of Jeff Albrecht. He changed the culture there. He changed the philosophy, and he had those guys producing. So hopefully he can. And we have better core players here for him to work with, right? We have better talented players. So hopefully he can bring that same philosophy here, that same strategy, and we end up with 3 or 4 Pro Bowlers ourselves, right? That's the whole intention. But this is likely where a veteran like Morgan Fox despite his solid track record, didn't quite fit. It's not a knock on his talent, but a question of his fit in this new aggressive scheme. The coaching staff probably saw him as a great piece for a traditional offense, but not the ideal chess piece for the dynamic system they want to run. His increased playing time in the preseason might have been a final audition, and the team ultimately decided to go in a different direction. This thinking applies to the whole defense. They are clearly prioritizing who can do multiple things, rush the passer from different spots, and thrive in a more aggressive system. The cuts weren't just about saving money, they were about sculpting a roster that perfectly matches Jeff Ulbricht's vision. Now, the third and final reason tells you everything you need to know about the Falcons' long-term vision. This is a full-blown commitment to a youth movement on defense. The front office didn't just talk about getting younger or getting faster. They poured draft capital into it. And now they're clearing the way for those to play immediately. The young guys have to come in and potentially start day one, making an impact. The Falcons made a huge statement by drafting edge rusher Jalen Walker and then trading back again into the first round and grabbing another one in James Pierce Jr. They followed that up by drafting safety Xavier Watts and versatile defensive back Billy Bowman Jr. in the third and fourth round. This wasn't about just adding guys for the future. It was about drafting players they expect to make an impact right away, day one. Head coach Raheem Morris has been clear about his intention to get rookies on the field and let them learn by doing. Cutting a veteran like Morgan Fox is a direct reflection of that philosophy. Keeping him on the roster would have meant fewer snaps for the younger players the team is betting its future on. Releasing him sends a powerful message to the locker room and the fans, and the future is now. The organization would rather give those crucial developmental snaps to players like Walker, players like Pierce, players like Xavier Watts, and potentially Kobe Bryant, who have shown flashes of being the game-changing pass rushers Atlanta has desperately needed, and then to a veteran who isn't part of the long-term plan, they're sticking to that decision. They don't want to run into another situation like Matthew Judon, pour all kind of hope into a player that they thought that could bring a dynamic to the defense, only to be heartbroken. They're embracing the idea of trial by fire, believing that any rookie mistakes made early in the season will lead to massive growth down the line. And that's kind of like, I don't know, if you wanted the rookie mistakes to be made early in the season, why not play them extensively in the preseason? Guess he still has that injury thing on his mind. But the cuts of Perkins, the cuts of Fox, and others were the tough but necessary steps to fully commit to this new era and empower the next wave of Falcons defenders. So, in conclusion, when you step back and look at the whole picture, the decision to cut Morgan Fox and other veterans starts to make a chilling kind of sense. Taken alone is a shocking move that seems to make the team weaker by today. But as part of a bigger strategy, it's a bold declaration of the franchise's new direction. This is no longer a team just trying to patch holes. This is a team undergoing a complete defensive overhaul, guided by three main ideas. First, a smart financial plan to ensure long-term cap health to keep their stars. Second, a total philosophical change on defense under Jeff Ulbricht, focusing on players who fit his aggressive and versatile scheme. And third and final, a full throttle commitment to the youth movement, handing the keys over to a promising and explosive rookie class. This path is definitely risky. The Falcons are betting big on unproven talent and are willing to accept some bumps in the road this season for a chance to build a true contender down the line. I think this is year 3 of Terry Fontano's statement that this is going to be a 3-year process. But now, with everything in light of everything that's happened, it's a gamble that could define the next 5 years of this franchise. While letting a guy like Morgan Fox walk is tough, it's a calculated risk to free up future money. Fully embrace a defensive identity, a new defensive identity, and invest in a younger, more dynamic core. But what do you guys think? Is this the right call for the Falcons? Is it a brilliant forward-thinking strategy? Or do you think it's just like a reckless gamble that's going to backfire? Guys, let me know in the comments what you think and below. I read every single comment. I answer each and every one. So please hit the comments, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you want more in-depth analysis, news, and everything Atlanta Falcons, be sure to subscribe and join the Atlanta Falcons Pandemic family on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Your engagement fuels my coverage. So once again, thank you guys. And until the next time, as always, rise up. All right, Pandemic family, that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in and sharing your passion for our Atlanta Falcons with us. Your energy and support are what make this community truly special. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a 2 thumbs up, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our exciting content. And seriously, don't forget to hit that notification bell right next to that subscribe button so that you'll be the first to know when we drop new videos about our beloved Dirty Birds. And as always, continue to rise up, and we'll see you in the Super Bowl.